I have for you an example to follow in Psalm 107. As always, if you have not already read the psalm, read the reading. Try to find your own space before watching the video. But here in the video today, we see the example for us to follow is that we need to cry to the Lord when we're in trouble. Cry out to Him. If you're in trouble, who else are you going to reach out to than the Lord? Cry to the Lord when in trouble is your example to follow today. The psalm begins by saying, "Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for He is good, for His steadfast love endures forever." He is so good because when you cry out to the Lord when in trouble, He hears and He delivers in His own mysterious way. So let us look at this. Some wandered in the desert, wastes. So if you feel like you're just all dried up and you're wandering around, what should you do? Here's the example to follow. Verse 6. Then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and He what? He delivered them from their distress. There's a promise to claim there that God will deliver you. Oftentimes, not exactly in the way that we prefer. Sometimes it is in the way that we prefer and that we ask for. But either way, God is not going to let His children perish. We may go through some dark valleys. We may go through some very difficult troubles. But God always promises to see us through the valley. Even if that valley might be death, we're still promised that God will deliver us from our distress. So are you wondering? You feel like you've been wandering around in desert wastes? Cry out to the Lord. And when He answers you and delivers you, thank the Lord for His steadfast love, as the psalm began. He satisfies his longing soul. But another group of people the psalmist talks about is there were some sitting in darkness. And what do you think these people that sat in darkness did? They cried to the Lord in their trouble. And what did God do? He delivered. So an example for you to follow is you feel like you're just sitting in darkness. Why don't you call out to the Lord for help while you're in your trouble? Good example for you to follow. Verse 17 says there were some fools through their sinful ways, and because of their iniquities suffered affliction. So in these situations, you really see that the individuals have contributed to their own problems. So some were fools through their sinful actions. But what did they do? They cried to the Lord in their trouble. What did God do? He delivered them. God is so gracious many times. Many times when we sin and disobey the Lord, the consequences that we actually experience are less than what they should be. We should thank the Lord for that. Cry unto the Lord, even if you're in a mess that you've caused yourself. Cry to the Lord in your trouble. A good example for us to follow. Verse 23 says that some went down to sea in ships, and I wonder what happened to them when they went down into the great waters. They went doing business to trade. Well, they got in there, and there was a stormy wind that happened. It was so bad that they mounted up to heaven, and they then went down to the depths, going up and down. So they are in a terrible spot. But what did these folks do? They cried to the Lord in their trouble, and He delivered them. Is there some sort of natural disaster that has come upon you? Is there some sort of a business calamity that has come upon you? What should you do? Cry unto the Lord in your trouble. He will deliver. He will come in and work. Again, not always in the same way. Sometimes death, both physically and metaphorically, must happen before you come out on the other side. But either way, He is going to deliver. And then when you're on the other side, when you get through the valley of the shadow of death, you thank the Lord for His steadfast love. Because here's an attitude. This is why you call out to the Lord when you're in trouble. Verse 33, this is the attitude. An attitude for you to adopt is that God turns rivers into a desert. So He can take things that are flourishing and He can then make it terrible, taking springs of water into thirsty ground, a fruitful land into a salty waste because of the evil of the inhabitants. So He brings about bad things, but then notice what 35 says. He also does the opposite. He turns a desert into pools of water, a parched land into springs of water. Who else you can call out for help? Who are you going to cry to in your time of trouble other than the Lord? He has the great power to turn deserts into pools of water. And then the psalm ends by saying we need to consider all of these things. Consider the steadfast love of the Lord. So the example for you to follow that I have found is that you should call out to the Lord in your trouble. Doesn't matter how you got into that trouble. Call out to him. He will deliver. It's a promise for you to claim for him. Be looking for God's deliverance and accept whatever it is that the Lord gives your way. I pray that's been a blessing to you. I'll see you in the next video.